Heat up your frozen dinners, grab your TV tray, and settle in for another episode of the Plus Platoon, your podcast for all things Disney Plus, brought to you by Disney Plus fans. Watch along with us every week as we cover all the new, the old, the good, and the bad on Disney Plus. So put down that remote, don't touch that dial, and welcome your fabulous Plus Platoon host.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Plus Platoon. We are a Disney Plus fan podcast that gives honest, spoiler-filled reviews of movies and shows on Disney Plus. We'll look at new releases, coming attractions, and we'll even go back into the vault to revisit some of the classic Disney that's on the platform. Make sure you're subscribed and you will never miss a moment. I'm going to bring in this week my girl, Kate. Kate, how you doing this evening? Besides still being on mute, Kate, how are you doing this evening?
I am muted. Sorry. I'm good. I'm ready to talk about all things Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Next, we have Peter. Pete, glad to have you with us.
Hello. Welcome. Happy to be here in my Beast from the East t-shirt.
Yes.
Buffalo Bills.
And we've got a full platoon tonight. We've got Steve with us. Steve.
Hey, everyone.
Guys, if you have not already, please like, subscribe, share. We are everywhere at Plus Platoon, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Although I guess on some of a certain platform, you can't mention other platforms, but luckily we don't do it as much on that platform, Twitter. So, guys, no Disney Plus news this week, so we are just going to jump right into our vault show, which is the 1991 original animated Beauty and the Beast. It is the 31st anniversary of that show, even though Disney would like you to believe it's the 30th anniversary of the show.
I've noticed that.
2022 minus 1991 is 31, even though they came out with the 30th anniversary's live special, which substituted in live singers and some live actors and scenes. We will not be reviewing that. We will not be reviewing the Emma Watson live version. We will be viewing the original and I would argue best version of Beauty and the Beast, the original 1991
Agreed,
animated
100%.
version. If there's anyone that does not already know this story, crawl out from under whatever rock you are under, and it's, yeah, everyone knows the story. Everyone should know the story by now. If you are a Disney fan at all, you have probably seen Beauty and the Beast at least once. So, and if you haven't, go watch it first, because no matter what I would say, I cannot do justice to telling you the story of Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
So we're just going to dive right in, though. And Pete, I'm going to start with you. Is it beautiful or is it beastly?
Oh, come on. It's beautiful. This is certainly beautiful. Although I am going to say that this may not be the best version of Beauty and the Beast because the Jean Cocteau 1928 black and white silent French version is a fantastic movie. So it's close. But this is a absolute wonderful movie. The Alan Menken, Howard Ashman songs. I knew it was going to blank on that. Songs are magnificent. It was written as, like, a lot of Disney musicals are really animated movies with songs in them. This is truly a musical. There's a lot of musical numbers in it throughout. It hits right from the opening scene with the bells. The name of the song is Bell, right? But little town, it's a quiet village, and I'm not going to sing other than that, but like right from the first moment of the movie, it is great. Right to the last moment of this movie, it is great. It's a perfect story for animation. And in fact, the live action version is mostly animated.
Can you clarify what you mean by that as a perfect story for animation?
Well, what I mean by that is that it's a story in which there is inherently a magical environment with a man that's been turned into a beast and a castle that is full of
okay, so it lends
materials come to light.
Animation.
So
it is
with
a perfect story to be animated.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I'll agree with that.
It is the story is inherently not really meant for a live action story necessarily without being that fantastical or heavy CGI like the live action version was. And I will admit the live action version is one of the less offensive live action
I'll agree
Disney
with that.
movies. I'm not gonna pretend to say it's better than this. It is not, but I said I think it's a great story, great songs, great performances, great characters, very entertaining, very tight. There's very, very little like slowness at any point in this story. It's a great movie, and it's a reason it was nominated for Best Picture. So, anything to add, Steve?
I'm going to say saying beautiful, and adding on to you, it was the first animated movie to be nominated for Best Picture. If I remember correctly, the only one that's been nominated so far.
No,
I think
there was
one
one
has
recently.
since.
What did it get beat by? Like what
Silence of the
one?
Lambs.
Oh my god!
Oh, yeah. But I remember seeing it in the theater when it came out, and that computer animated scene with the ballroom, like just jaw dropping, because it really hadn't seen anything like that before. Great stories, great music, great story, great music. Like Pete was saying, it's definitely an animated musical from the very beginning. Just great numbers throughout. Really enjoyed it. It's probably in my top 5. I don't know necessarily where I put it of Disney films, but I put it in definitely my top 5.
Yeah, and we'll get to where it does rank among the Disney animated films.
Yes.
Steve, Up has been nominated for Best Picture, and Toy Story 3 was nominated for Best Picture.
Oh, thank you.
So, I would say it's mostly beautiful. I would argue with Pete. There are a couple sections that I understand the scene with the insane asylum guy. I understand why it has to be there.
Terrifying.
Yeah, that guy is probably one of the scariest looking guys in any animated feature. But that section right in there gets a little long, I would say. There's also from Belle to, yes, there's the reprise of Belle, the I Want Adventure and the Great White Somewhere, which if you don't want Pete to sing, you really don't want me to sing. That never stops me.
Or me.
That is, it's kind of I call it like a mini Part of Your World. That little reprise verse that she throws in there, but there's a stretch in there from there to Be Our Guest could have used another song. And I have not seen the Broadway version enough to know if there is a song in there, but from where she goes to get her dad to, I guess Gaston's in there, but again, Gaston, nothing happens in the castle between her getting her dad and Be Our Guest, really, other than she can go ahead and starve. But which is every parent's, I don't want to come eat. Fine, don't come eat. But I would say from the 98% of it, I would say is beautiful. Kate?
So this movie was my favorite as a kid. I would watch this movie. I mean, I wore out the VHS. I would watch this movie over and over and over. And this movie was for my generation. This came out in what year?
91.
Yeah, I was 4 or 5 when this movie came out. And I mean, Belle, growing up, Belle was the most beautiful girl, in my opinion. I thought she was just so beautiful, and her voice was perfect. And I loved the way that she loved her family. And I think that's why Belle has always been my favorite princess, is because she did what she had to do to protect her family. And I, as someone who came from a very broken household, just watching that father-daughter love, something that I did not have, I think I lived vicariously through Belle. I loved Maurice. So
Crazy old Maurice.
I know. I say all of that to say I feel like my view of this movie might be a tiny bit skewed because of how much I leaned on this movie as a child. Stockholm syndrome isn't the best, but there's it's so good. It has a great villain. It has a great villain sidekick. It has great songs. It has the Beast goes through a whole character development. Belle goes through a whole character development. It's just, in my opinion, so well done. As this particular movie, I don't care for the live action. I actually, and earlier we have done an episode where we talked a lot about musical theater. I don't particularly enjoy this on stage. I will not pay to go see this movie. I will only go see it if I have friends that are in it that I really like. In my opinion, this movie is the best that it will be. I have met Paige O'Hara, who did the voice of Belle, and I cried when I met her, and I said, your voice helped me get through really hard times, and now I'm a motivational speaker, and my voice helps kids get through really hard times. So thank you for helping me be brave in my own voice. I love this movie. I love this movie. I think it's wonderful.
Now, Kate, would her being the most beautiful princess have also the only thing to do with her being the only brunette princess?
No, I think I would have loved her no matter what color her hair was. Granted, I did see myself in Belle a lot. I saw myself in Belle, but it was the fact that she loved books. She made reading cool. And people called her odd. People made fun of me all the time. Like, it's just, this movie never, and every place that I've been in my life, this movie holds up. And I always identify with a different character. Nowadays, we'll get there.
Well,
anyway.
Let's go ahead and get there, Kate. That's next. We get there. Which supporting character are you most like?
So I had a lot of fun with this. It depends on the day. I feel like I pretty solidly bounce between the furry footstool, who just wants to be friends with everyone, and Chip, who always gets told, like, I'll tell you when you're older, and
because we still tell Kate that.
We still tell Kate that. Yeah, we'll tell you when you're older.
And Cogsworth, who is like a rule follower, and like somehow Cogsworth is the one who has to go, who like drew the short straw, who has to go tell the Beast the Belle's not coming. Like, people are like, it's okay, Kate will do it. Okay. So yeah, those are the three that I definitely bounce between, is the footstool and Chip and Cogsworth. So Pete, what about you?
I'd like to think that I'm Lumiere, but I know really that I'm crazy old Maurice. I'm an engineer. I'm I can be a bit of a goofball, and so I think if I was going to be a character in this movie, and I have a young daughter who she doesn't like to read, but she likes to draw. So I'm gonna say I'm like Maurice. So unfortunately, I'm not nearly as smooth as Lumiere. So what about you, Steve?
All right, Kate, I know why I like you, because my answer would be Maurice. Cogsworth. I am such a rule follower. I'd say agree with you. I go through Cogsworth and Chip because I'm very outgoing when I meet people. I'm very friendly, want to be like their best friend. But definitely more Cogsworth. Fudgety, things have to be certain ways. Derek, what would you say?
Well, if I can't do the Beast, and I know he's not a supporting character.
Oh, okay.
And I can't do Gaston, even though most of me is covered with hair. I think for me, it would be the sarcastic wit of Cogsworth. My favorite line, probably from just about any Disney movie, is, what do I get her? Oh, the usual: flowers, chocolates, promises you don't intend to keep. So,
See, and it's one-liners like that make this movie brilliant.
which was actually improvised by David Ogden Stiers.
Yeah.
So,
really?
yes,
Oh,
it
I
was.
didn't know that.
Yeah. But to me, I mean, look at me trying. Someone has to control the household staff. Someone has to control the household staff. But just
If
the
it's not broke, don't fix it.
I mean, yeah, and just the jokes like that are the puns, everything like that. For me, totally got to be Cogsworth. So, but there are so many great supporting characters in this. Okay,
Yes.
now here's a tricky one, and I think I'm going to start with Steve.
Can I add one thing really quick, Derek?
Sure.
I do, as I get older, though, want to become a Mrs. Potts. I want people to be welcomed around me.
A grandmother with a 4-year-old.
Yes, that's what I want. That's exactly what I meant by that statement.
And 12 children.
No, I want people I want to roll out the red carpet for people. I want them to have a seat at my table. I want to, I just want to be Mrs. Potts.
That's fair. That's fair. And I think really for those of us, the best of us is parts from all the characters.
Yes.
So, okay, Steve, what's the best song in the movie?
This is tough because 3 were actually nominated for best song, which was Belle, Beauty and the Beast, which won, and then Be Our Guest. And then for me though, my top 3 would be Gaston. Just love the quick lyrics on that. Then Belle, the opening number. But my favorite song, this one I pick, is Be Our Guest. Because when I hear the title of this movie, that's what comes to my mind. Very catchy. Just a big production number. To me, vision in my mind, it was a musical. It'd be sort of the closing thing for Act 1, possibly. But I would have to go with Be Our Guest.
For me, I'll be honest, I watched this earlier this afternoon. Had trouble making it all the way through it, to be perfectly honest. But that could also be because of how tired I am. And I mean, it says nothing. And the fact that I've watched this so many times, sometimes it's hard to sit through. If you've got other stuff in your mind, sometimes it's hard to sit through something you've watched.
I feel that.
Like we literally went and saw it 4 times in the theater. And then my mom used to run a daycare. This was on, if not a daily, at least a bi or tri-daily rotation at her daycare. Little Mermaid had we had 4 tiny little girls. Little Mermaid was the number 1 in rotation. But because there's parts of this that are a little scary. But to me,
and there aren't parts of the Little Mermaid that aren't scary.
Well, yeah, but you got this talking crab and everything. It's fine. No, I would say the Beast is scarier than Ursula.
Oh,
yes.
Disagree. I would disagree.
To a 4-year-old.
There's some scenes with the Beast early on that would be pretty scary.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So to me, best song, the song I could listen to over and over and over again is actually Gaston. The funny song of the story. It's not the showstopper. It's not the Under the Sea that Be Our Guest is. It's the I just can't wait to be king of the show. It's the funny. It's the villain's time to shine, which I love. It's the poor unfortunate souls of the show. It's the be prepared of the show. It's the main villain song that all these classic Disney animated songs want. And the lyrics in Gaston, there's just so many of those little tiny things that, being roughly the size of a barge. I mean, whoever, the fact that he thought of that rhyme to make sense, I think it's the most lyrically fantastic of the entire show. Kate?
Yeah. Sorry, I want to make sure I was muted. So I have an answer that hasn't been said yet. And I have 2. My first one is the song Something There. There may be something there that wasn't there before. Because I feel like that's the turning point in the movie. That's when you really start to see a change in the Beast.
And a change in Belle.
And a change in Belle. And I also always really loved the animation from this song because I love when the Beast has
the
birds.
and none of the birds will come to him. And so, and he's like, ugh. And then Belle does it again. And then he's got like birds everywhere. I always loved that. I also resonated with that as someone who has been through a lot of change and has had to work through things like that. Always resonated with me. The other song that I actually really enjoy is the Mob song, which is the through the mist, through the woods, na 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 na, kill the beast. I just lyrically and the melody of that is so good. Like it's so catchy. It's an earworm. It'll get stuck in your head. And while I don't like what that song stands for, because he's essentially being a fearmonger and like mob mentality, getting all these people to like kill the beast when they're like, yeah, let's do it, and everybody's like, who's the beast? I don't know. I think that song is so brilliantly written. So that would be my two.
And I will say the something there. If you've ever been in a relationship where you didn't get along to start, and then all of a sudden that relationship has that moment. My wife and I were like that. I know several people at college that hated each other until they didn't.
Yeah.
That's such a great song that could have been put in just about any. It could have been put in a lot of Disney movies. A lot of movies that don't have the prince that she falls in love with at first sight. There's some kind of change there. So, Pete, you're gonna complete the show and go with the big one.
I am not, because you stole mine. I think that Gaston. So this movie, I mean, Howard Ashman's lyrics that he writes are every time I watch this movie or even Little Mermaid or Aladdin, I get very sad that we lost him at such a young age, because he was a genius, and this movie is full of genius songs, and you guys have all mentioned all of them. Beauty and the Beast, the one song we didn't mention, he did not write. But if you listen to the song structure of Gaston, the rhyme structure of Gaston, it is crazy, the rhyme structure that he puts in that song, and that it works and is as catchy as it is. And there's so many clever lines in it. That song just, I'm especially good at expectorating. I mean, come on.
The fact that you have to know that means spitting. Yeah.
Someone, this dude wrote that line in a Disney musical, and it 100% works. None of the songs are bad though. I'm going to say that there's not a stinker in the bunch. There's almost no other Disney musical that doesn't have at least one song that kind of doesn't work. I'll make an exception for Princess and the Frog, which they all work, but I think that one's is by far my favorite. So Derek stole it from me.
Well, it's what I do. So, okay, now I was gonna go, is Beauty and the Beast in the top 5 animated Disney characters, but I thought that would be too easy, because I think top 5 for most people it definitely hits.
I'd agree with that.
But is this a top 3? Is this in the top 3? And I'm not counting Pixar. Pixar does not count this. Traditionally animated Disney films, is this in the top 3? Pete, I'm going to go start with you. Keeping in mind that in an earlier show, you put both Aladdin and Lion King ahead of this.
Right, I did, and I would stick with that. So, that would presume that the top 3 animated Disney films came out within 3 years of each other, which is hard to say. I am probably going to say no to that. It is a fantastic movie, and I think if you had said top 5, I probably would have done it. But boy, there's a couple of really good ones out there. Snow White is just, it's so technically brilliant for its time. There's a few others I can think of. Sleeping Beauty. I don't think I put Sleeping Beauty ahead of it, but gosh, I don't. I think if you caught me on the right day, I would maybe say top 3, but I'm gonna probably put it 4 or 5. So for me, probably not top 3. So Steve.
Oh, it's so close. It's probably number 3 or number 4. Like Pete, it got me thinking, like you said about Snow White. Does Snow White go in the top 3, or does it drop? I'm torn. It's 3 or 4, because like my top two would be Lion King and Frozen. I think just for what they did for animation is I'd put those there. I'm going to say no. I'm going to put it at number 4 and put Snow White slightly above it, because Snow White had to come before we got to this one. So no.
Okay. I'm going to say no. I'm also going to, again, I think top 5. Yes, it's there. I also had Lion King ahead of this one. I would put Peter Pan ahead of this one, as far as if you're just going to sit and watch a movie. Yes, Peter Pan has some of the racially insensitive issues towards the Native Americans. I mean, what makes the red man when red should not have been done. But that being said, there is so much else great about that show that I would put Peter Pan ahead of this. I would put the last 35 to 40 minutes of Sleeping Beauty ahead of this. Basically from when they get back to the castle to the end, with that fight with Maleficent is technically amazing. With the different panels and panes of glass that they go through, the different layers.
Sleeping Beauty is, from a technical standpoint, is incredible, but I'm not sure I would as a whole movie. But I'm interrupting you, so you can put it first.
Yes. I would also put parts of Fantasia ahead of this. I would do Sorcerer's Apprentice ahead of this. I would do Dance of the Hours ahead, the Dance of the Hours section ahead of this.
Is that the mushrooms?
No, the Dance of the Hours is the hippopotamuses.
Oh.
I would do most of the Nutcracker segment ahead of this.
Wow.
Yeah, I would. This is probably sitting number 5 for me, but it is not top 3. Kate?
I just find it so interesting that your all's head was in such a different place than mine. Because in my opinion, how do you compare this to Hercules? Like, how do you compare this to The Emperor's New Groove? That is so funny.
Uh-huh.
And I know that we're keeping Pixar out of this because Pixar is a whole different thing.
Correct.
But
if we include Pixar, this might hurt to get in the top 10.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Toy Story beats all. And The Incredibles comes in right below. So this is hard for me because it's definitely in my top 5 for sure. But I wasn't even thinking about Snow White plus
you also put Lion King ahead of this.
Yeah, yes. Mm-hmm. And Lion King would have been up there. But I'm not gonna lie, Robin Hood is up there.
Uh-huh.
Robin Hood is such an underrated, hilarious film.
It's funny. It is funny.
And I quote Robin Hood regularly. Most people don't ever catch what I'm talking about. Like when I go, that mean Mr. Sheriff stole my birthday present. No one ever knows what I'm talking about, but it's fine. So, I loved Lilo and Stitch. I don't like Lilo and Stitch as much anymore because I have a little bit of beef with the phrase Ohana, because when you get laid off from Disney, you feel very forgotten and left behind, but it's fine. But it would be in my top 5. I don't think it would be in my top 3.
Yeah.
If we're just looking solely at Disney animated films, Lion King how do you how like Lion King's obviously in the top 3. So yeah, it would be in my top 5, but not my top 3.
And that's why I went with top 3, is because I wanted to make this a harder decision.
I think if you said Disney musicals, it would then be top 3. But I have a hard time. The ones that I can, well, I don't even know then, because I think the other ones I was saying are
You
also
mean like
musicals.
stage
So
musicals?
never. No. I'm talking about like that's real, because like to me there's Disney movies that have music in them, and
Right,
then
The
there's
Emperor's
Disney
New Groove
musicals.
doesn't have music.
Right.
The Emperor's New Groove doesn't have, yeah.
Hercules is a musical.
Gotcha.
Yes, Hercules is a musical, but I was thinking even though Tangled has songs in it, it's got like 4 songs. Is it really a musical? I don't know.
I agree, Pete. Like Snow White's not a musical.
Right. There's songs in it, but it's not a musical. So
Beauty and Beast is a musical.
Beauty and Beast
songs
is a musical.
that push the drama. So
even Lion King, I guess it's a musical, but I mean they made a musical out of it.
Lion King's definitely
a musical.
Yeah.
The character motivation songs are so there.
But Sleeping Beauty is not.
No, Sleeping Beauty has 1 song.
Correct.
Yeah. So, okay. Now, us saying we've all said this is a great movie. Going to be interesting to see. So, let's do our Pixie Dust ratings. Pixie Dust ratings out of 5. Kate, we're starting with you.
5.
5.
4.5.
Oh,
that guy.
Sorry, I gave Lion King 4.5, and Lion King's above this, so the highest it could score is 4.5.
You gave Lion King a 4.5?
I did. Yes.
Wow.
He's tough.
Toy Story's 5. Toy Story's 5. So that's why I started comparing it to.
Wow.
It just does not quite hit. So 4.5.
I gotta agree with Pete. It's 4.5 again because I cannot rate it higher than Lion King.
Yeah.
I mean, Steve.
Not Steve. He was with me.
I cannot. I have to agree with Steve. I can't. I rated Lion King 4.5 because it's not perfect. It's not a 5, and this is not as good as Lion King.
Hey, Derek, and this may be a question for later, but what's our highest ranking watch of all time? Do we have a highest ranking?
Toy Story.
I think
Toy Story.
It is Toy Story. Toy Story is straight 5s.
Yeah, that sounds right. It's
Toy Story
so
straight
good.
5s.
Classic.
It looks like
Lion King is going to get exactly the same rating as this.
Yeah.
So
I what I would say is that I cannot say that there's only one movie that I will give a 5. Like Derek apparently believes only one animated movie can get a 5. So
no.
Well, you said I gave Lion King a 5, so I can't give this a 5.
No, I said I gave Lion King a 4.5.
Yeah.
So I can't give this a 5.
That was my reasoning. Yeah.
I think I have to change my answer, not on the ranking, but because the more I'm thinking about it, I'm like, okay, what movies would I give a 5 to? I would give a 5 to Lion King. I'd give a 5 to Beauty and the Beast. I wouldn't give a 5 to The Little Mermaid. I wouldn't give a 5 to Sleeping Beauty or Snow White. I wouldn't give a 5. So you know what? When push comes to shove, when it comes to rankings, maybe it actually is in my top 3. I would have to do a little bit more digging on that. But the only other movies that I can think of that I would absolutely give a 5 to are Toys. Well, but we're not doing Pixar. Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, and Hercules. I can't think right offhand what else I would give a 5 to, so I might have to change my answer now that I'm thinking about it more.
Okay. Well, that's fair. So, guys, thank you so much for being a part of us. Guys, if you have suggestions for us, please email us, or want to tell us that we're wrong, please email us at plusplatoon@gmail.com.
No, want to tell Derek he's wrong. Want to tell Derek he's wrong.
If you're telling me I'm wrong, you got to tell Steve he's wrong on this one too. So
you're wrong. Hey, can we give this movie some credit for being 25 years ahead of its time on toxic masculinity?
Oh yeah,
yes,
very much so.
I love that you said that. That's so funny.
And let's give a shout out too. Okay, technically this is partially a little bit of a Pixar movie because the ballroom scene computer stuff that Steve talked about was done by a very young Pixar. So
can I also bring up really quick that very few things. While Cinderella's castle, so I've only ever been to Disneyland once, and I did not have a great experience, so I need to go again. Maybe Casey and I will go. He just gave me the thumbs up, so we'll go someday. When you walk in to be our guest at Walt Disney World, and you walk into that ballroom scene, it is like you have stepped into the movie. And then if you divert to the left, you go into West Wing. Like, come on now, let's go. So good.
And then they have the music box room, which just
we ran out of ideas room.
Yes, that.
But and on that, okay, I love when you go through we're waiting in line, has the different suits of armor that talk to each other like they do in the movie. And it's just, this is a great adaptation. I would say.
Go ahead.
I would say, now, I don't know about out of the United States because I didn't actually do any research. Is there a Beauty and the Beast ride anywhere?
Not to my knowledge.
No.
I don't know. I've never been to any other parks.
Okay. This would be a great dark ride.
Isn't the castle in France
Belle's Castle
mostly inspired?
Yes, but then it has a dragon in the basement.
Yeah, and it's actually the name of the castle is after Sleeping Beauty, now that I think about it.
But if you think about it, I mean, the Peter Pan ride is good. Like, I enjoy the Peter Pan ride, but there isn't another ride.
Little Mermaid.
No, but hang on. That takes my breath away the way that walking into Be Our Guest does. The Little Mermaid ride doesn't take my breath away like that.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? No, taking the castle out of it. Because, like, walking through Cinderella's castle, walking through Aurora's castle, that doesn't count. But when you're looking, I mean, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is dope, but it doesn't affect me the way that walking into Be Our Guest does.
Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is 2 barnstormers with a 30-second dark ride in the middle.
Agreed.
So, anyway, we are diving a little bit off topic, but that's kind of what we do here. So, guys, thank you so much for being a part of this. Appreciate it. We will be back to our regularly scheduled programs next week. Thank you for diving into the vault with us, and we will see everyone then. So, bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Plus Platoon. Be sure to subscribe to the Plus Platoon podcast to keep getting great content each week. Then head over to Apple Podcast and leave those 5-star reviews as they help make the Plus Platoon visible to even more Disney Plus fans. Also, go to YouTube and like and subscribe to the Plus Platoon channel, where you can watch all future episodes live. If you have a question for the Plus Platoon, please send us an email to plusplatoon@gmail.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram @plusplatoon.
The Plus Platoon is a Disney Plus fan podcast and is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or the Disney Plus streaming service. All opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the individual hosts and in no way reflect the views of the Walt Disney Company.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for next week's episode because the Plus Platoon is to be continued.